Yeah, I do feel pretty bad for Spite, not gonna lie. Like I never knew, right? I never knew the situation that she was getting, like, she was being called a bargain brand of Cinder. I'm like I'm like there shouldn't be no bargain branding there, to be honest, in my personal opinion. But I don't know. This shit definitely was a pretty giant catastrophe, to be honest. She got 2K viewers. Ah, that's good. That's good. I'm glad at least she's getting, some popularness off of it, off the situation itself, It's well deserved in my personal opinion. So are you talking about this Cinder? And as a fellow pyro pup, it hurts me a lot. And I do not condone what Cinder is doing. Is very unlike her, going through a lot though. Yeah, we are going to be discussing about it completely. I have read all the documents, so I'm kind of already in the gist of it. But I do want to take a look at, see if I missed anything, any tidbit information or so, for on the Rev Says video. So we're going to be taking a look at it. So yeah, so let's take a look at it. I know that like some people are very a lot of my VTuber friends are, are a bit distraught on the situation itself, which is quite quite heartbreaking, I'll be honest with you. There's nothing I can say about the situation itself to make it better, but I hope, the Pyro Pups can find a new better, I guess, like a new better community, I guess. I don't know what you want me to say in this situation, because it's literally one of the biggest VTubers who decided to, you know basically kind of like backstab, their friends for good business at the end of the day, or it's just business, so ay. Whoever said that about the Spite was blind. Not once have I ever thought they were similar. Spite is generally a sweetheart. Cinder always felt off. I never figured out why until now, I guess. Well, I never looked in the look, at the end of the day, right? I'm busy, I'm doing my own thing, I'm doing my own VTuber shenanigans. So I never really look up other VTubers, right? The only VTubers that I've looked up to was like, Shy Lily, and then you got freaking Numi, Shy Lily, Numi, what's her name, moth VTuber girl that's friends with Numi. I completely forgot her name, sorry, it's been a while. Iron Mouse is also one of them. No, she's a moth VTuber, not Juniper. The other one who's friends with Numi and Bao. And there you go, Yuzu, thank you. Cinder's on power trip. She needs to be reprimanded for her actions. The problem is like, I was not expecting for her to do a response document a day after. She should have definitely taken a little bit more time to kind of address everything. But yeah, usually if the document comes out super soon, it's definitely not going to be a good document at the end of the day. I still can't get around why they're competition on the VTuber industry. Like, why? Just do your thing and don't mind others. Yuzu, my favorite emulator. No, VTuber, not Yuzu the emulator. I don't mind friendly competition. She preloaded that document. Just offer game service instead, as a certain VTuber once said. It's just business. Yep. For me, it's the meme or so from the Pirates of the Caribbean. It's just good business, But what was I saying or so? Oh fuck, I already forgot. Anyways, let's go jump into it, shall we? We've got a lot to discuss, and my personal feelings. Well, I wouldn't say feelings, my own personal opinion on the situation of the matter. So,
hey, what's up, guys? Riff here. So today we're going to be talking about some big VTuber-related drama involving one of the largest indie VTubers on the scene, and that is, of course, Cinder, who is now losing a lot of her own fans as well as some of her connections to peers over a barrage of Google Docs that were released yesterday that show many negative things about her from behind the scenes, making a very clear.
Again, I'm so sorry. I always thought she was so nice and sweet, but the truth finds a way to come out. I've decided to move on and find other VTubers to hang out with and chat. And each time I go to Cinder's profile, it's like a punch in the face. She looks so sweet and nice and have pictures. The only two things of merch I'm keeping of her is the body pillow and the pyro plushie. And I'm so sorry for every VTuber that has gotten harassed by Sinder. Yeah, much love going out to the to a lot of the VTubers that have been kind of basically fucked over, in that situation itself. All for, all for business, right? Everything for business. Like I don't mind friendly competition, right? I don't mind friendly competition. It's fine. It's fine for friendly competition, but like this is not a friendly competition. This is more like fuck you, this artist slash editor is mine and I want to monopolize her and no one else can have her, basically. And then try to, and then like the redacted boyfriend was saying some mad shit about the other VTubers. And knowing that, knowing that they are, they're in a relationship together, of course they're gonna know what's like, because the manager has to contact the VTuber and tell the VTuber, be like, hey, this and this and this, Yeah. Like I don't mind competition. I don't mind competition whatsoever because it's fun, It's fun to push each other, to each other's limits or so to bring out,
Competition should be always to the point of growing with each other, but also being rivals. But sabotaging, that's just you being evil.
Yeah, it's just like, you push each other to each other's limits to go into new higher heights, You push each other, but you still love each other at the end of the day, That's the only reason why. For me personally, like I love all my VTuber friends. I love all the people that I've interacted with. I love all the people who like, even if it's a small conversation, I'll always cherish it no matter what, because that's just how I was treated. That's how I was raised, I should say. Anyways, but I'll never be in that situation where I'm like backstabbing friends and stuff like that, because, it's your friends is what literally helps you, pushes you, to become, even better than you are, you just become a better person tomorrow than yesterday. That's why.
Picture that she is someone who is very manipulative, she's paranoid and very deceitful, and even targets these things not just to anyone, but to some people within the VTubing scene who considered her a friend. She was doing all of this, actively sabotaging some of her own friends in
What the VTuber community suffers from is a fake reality. One where fans believe their favorite VTuber is clean straight down to the bones, but behind scenes, they be a piece of actual trash. I'm not surprised by this in the slightest, cause her name is literally Sinder.
Gotta remember to be for it to be friendly. Yeah, what was I gonna say? The problem is this is going to have a big ripple effect in the VTuber industry, where people are going to be super cautious now, because from time to time, right, we get like VTubers getting exposed, right, for like saying shit about their friends, backstabbing, and like all this other stuff in the indie scene, right? But in a lot more smaller scale, right? And a little bit more smaller scale, right? Not super massive like this. This is probably the most massive scale that this has happened,
I can't do it. I can't take this shit no more, man.
Collabs will probably be a lot more harder to do.
VTubers are now questioning their relationships with each other because of this.
Oh yeah, no, that's 1000%. I got tagged or so in a post or so that like my VTuber friend loves me and everything like that. And I'm like I love everybody, I love all my VTuber friends. I love all the people that I've interacted with, I'm never like that, to be honest, because I came into the mindset. I literally came into the mindset in the VTuber community as in like, I gotta be wary. You know, I'm super wary against people. You know,
Sinder out here putting the entire indie VTUBE scene in an AMONGUS type situation.
This is saying how this has become so big. Yeah, the problem is that the ripple effect that's gonna cause in the VTuber scene or so, where people are gonna start questioning their friendships. People are not gonna start collabing as much as usual. People are gonna be on their toes all the damn time. If, like, you know, are they here for this? Are they here for my platform? Are they here for my fame? You know, all of this, you know, all of this other stuff basically. So that is gonna be causing like even like I would say like probably like try to gain like new friendship is also going to be a lot harder now, because, you know, they'd be like, oh, this new person is trying to come into our friendship group or so. Let's not, you know, let's give it a little break or so before we do that.
Anyone who watches streamers online only see their online personality. They have no idea what the other person is like in real life. They might be a piece of shit or angel. Bottom line, never take anyone for their face value, and this is gonna cause a huge effect in the streaming community.
Well, I already know about that. I don't take anyone at face value. You know, that's why I get to know my VTuber friends before, you know, I decide to, you know, launch everything, you know. Not only is it hurting her image, but also the brand she is under, and regardless of her response, the amount of people she has hurt and enraged outweighs the amount of people who will either defend her. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if there are people who are defending her anyway. So that's also another thing that'd be a thing. Will she come back to streaming? Probably. She'll probably come back to streaming. Will she have the numbers that she used to had? Probably not. She'll probably not have the same numbers that she used to had. So that's the only thing about it. Because remember, right, we got people who come back or so that have been quote unquote canceled, right? They come back, but they're not as big as they are. So she kind of pretty much almost lost everything now at this point. You know, my condolences goes out to all the pyro pups. You know, I give my heart out to them, that, you know, that their favorite idol, you know, was a complete shit show, you know. Again, guys, I'm so sorry. Today I popped into Shy Lily's stream and she was talking about the situation and started crying. It hurt me a lot to see her cry. I know Bao Nano will never see this, and I'm very sorry. Don't worry. Well, they're not gonna see the video, but like, I do post these videos on YouTube anyway, so. I mean, that's just what happens when a terrible person gains a massive following, especially with someone who also is now also a partial owner of the popular company. She owns a chunk of gamer subs. This shit ain't good for business. Shaking my head. It definitely is not good for business, but who knows what's gonna happen from then on, though. If she's gonna sell her share. Twitter has so many defenders under the doc she posted. Really? That's crazy. It's because she's using the emotional manipulation or so to gain sympathy. That's the reason why. What a time in the VTuber community. Graduations in the corporate side and the drama in the indie side. Sad days. When I stream, I try to be an open as possible, which is hard. I was a pyro pup. I feel so betrayed. That's why I give my condolences out to all of the pyro pups out there. You know, there's not much I can do. You know, you're welcome to come hang out here. I have no problem whatsoever, you know, but I'm not gonna be like those other VTubers on Twitter, be like, oh, you know, I'm not a terrible person. You can come, you know, you can come to my stream and blah 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 blah. I'm not this terrible person. No, because that's just kind of like, you know, that's just also kind of like a terrible thing to kind of like promote your shit, you know. So that's the only reason why. I was in a Discord account for the Pyro Pups for about 1 year. They are paranoid about anything about the situation. There'll always be simps for any streamers. That's true. But that's why there's no simps in this stream. We're all pretty normal people. I'm a pretty genuine person. I try to be as genuine as much as possible. I'll let you guys know certain things about me, but I'm not gonna let you know everything about me, okay? I need to keep some things private for myself. Isn't it good for drama channels? I think is going to be the horse that beats for the month. No? Well, we'll see. Well, Johnny Somali's still fucking roaming around, of course. Yeah, I hate you, Ko. I hate your mom too. We're all hombres. Yeah, we're all hombres here. This entire thing is crazy. Oh no, I'm not normal. I'm a complete dumbass.
Private, trying to hurt their career, all to line her own pocket, to make sure she's the one still on top,
Yep.
and that these other people are no longer.
That's the one thing. That's always the one thing about it, is like she's trying to reach the top, but I'm like, but she's already made it to the top. You know, she's already there. Why does she need to go even further? You know, she's already living the top 5 or 10% of VTubers. I just can't seem to wrap my head around it, you know? Oh, is Bertrand not gonna say anything? Okay, Bertrand. Well, I think I definitely think I'm going to have a good time here. You seem fun. I'm a pretty chill VTuber. I'm not really super ecstatic VTuber. You know, if you're expecting like Chibidoki of like, you know, energy, I'm not that. So no, I think I turned it off or so for.
Co is different.
Yeah, I'm old. I don't have time for, you know, these kinds of situations. I don't have time for Twitter drama. I don't have time for drama. I got my own things I need to worry about, you know, as in like doing certain VTuber projects that I need to do for everybody that's going to be in the future. And then like, you know, other shenanigans. Gag mixing is hard for I'm just exhausted at this point.
A threat to her. So we're going to be talking about several Google Docs.
Welcome to the gaming crew, James
13,245.
13,245. Your subscription fuels our gaming journey with excitement and energy. Let's dive into thrilling quests together and create amazing memories.
Chibi is such a
Nyaru
crash out.
and I are grateful for your support.
Chibidoki is
Co is too
something.
old for drama.
Thank you, Snako. Since the situation has started yesterday, I have been feeling that a part is gone and cried so much today. And whatever, hold on, give me a second. And so whatever happens to Cinder, I just want her to learn that your actions have consequences. Yeah. She, her quote unquote boyfriend warped her perspective or so on business and everything. But even then, right, it still takes common sense or so to be like, wait a minute, this isn't right. You know, I shouldn't be doing these things, you know, to my VTuber friends, my family. You know, they're basically considered as your family, you know. Thank you for the follow as well. Like, I don't know, like I said, I don't know how close they are, right? How close they were. But like at this point, they could have been like, you know, family, you know, at the end of the day.
Thanks for the 13-month resub, CO Pan 1987.
Ciao. Thank you for the
dedication
resub.
powers up
Welcome,
our gaming
welcome.
adventures. Let's channel but Sunako 2 derp energy and conquer new challenges together. Nyaru and I appreciate your continued support. Thanks for the 13-month resub.
Oh no, it's repeating it again. Nah, fucking A.
Your
I never
dedication
fixed that
powers up our
issue.
gaming adventures.
Oh goodness gracious
Let's
me.
channel but Sunako 2 derp energy and conquer new challenges
we'll give it a
together.
minute. We'll give it a minute.
Nyaru and I appreciate your continued support.
Yeah, I have stream problems. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Welcome to the gaming crew, Gecko 12.
Oh god.
Your subscription fuels our gaming journey with excitement and energy. Let's dive into thrilling quests together.
I
and
love
create
technology,
amazing
you know.
memories.
Technology
Nyaru
loves to
and
work
I
with
are
me
grateful
very
for your
well, you
support.
know. Okay, are you done, Bertrand? Okay, I think Bertrand is done. Okay, let me read the rest of the your guys' comment real quick. She was in the top 10 for most subs on Twitch in 2024. She had it made, but as the says goes, Amber Turd made her bed. It's about time she shit in it. That's what I just don't understand. You know, she's like, you know, she's popular. I just don't understand the reason why she decided to still do this, you know? And she's been doing this for like 5 years, apparently. Some people let their greed take over the point where they can literally sabotage anyone. Greed will never take over to me because the only reason why is because I've been poor for most of my life. That's the reason why.
As we go, and I promise you it's
That's the
definitely
reason
worth
why.
kind of trudging through this video to get more and more context, because as you get more context, the more unhinged all of this gets. And of course, for brevity's sake, I'm not going to read through every single document. You can do that on your own.
I read all of them.
Very easy to find on Twitter right now, but I'm just going to quickly summarize the key points and give you some good context to work with here. So let's begin.
It's not even competitiveness. It's just also jealousy. She was jealous. She was getting like...
Our greed to see your 2B cosplay will never end though.
Okay, motherfucker. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up about the 2B cosplay. I swear to God, okay? Alright? God lord, yeah.
Remember when you made that gaming studio to get me as a voice actor?
She's just generally a trash human being. For Miss Cinder, unfortunately, yeah. This is what happens when you give certain people a platform, you know? You give...
About that 2B wedding dress cosplay.
Oh my fucking God.
WAJAJA.
You guys just want me to put on the 2B wedding dress cosplay. That's all you guys, that's all you really guys want. Disgusting. Thank you for the follow. Welcome. But yeah, overall in this situation, it's what they keep asking. Yeah, they always keep asking, will you, Ko? I'm listening. Okay, did I hear what? Shut the fuck up. You know what? We're gonna keep going. You know, we're gonna keep going. Fuck this.
Onto Twitter by the user Nanolus, and this Google Doc, or at least the tweet sharing it, has 8.
Nar, how dare you, Brooklyn? How dare you slander me? I'm a terrible person. I'm a shitty content creator. I'm terrible. Ain't that right, chat? I'm a terrible person, right, chat? Right, you guys can agree with me, right, chat? Right? Just say yes. Just say yes. Yeah, boo this man. Boo Ko. Like, would I consider it this necessity? Yes, boo Ko. Nuh-uh. Maybe. It sucks what's happening because I really like Sinder and enjoyed her Nikkei streams, but at the end of the day, her actions were unacceptable. Yeah, no, her actions were definitely unacceptable on the actual situation itself. Yep, I've dropped my Google Doc on you. She's a heavy Vulcan user. Okay, chat. All right, grifter.
Million views to give you an idea of how big of a deal this is.
I love my community.
So who's this individual? Well, they're an artist who works primarily with...
Are you a masochist? I am not a masochist. Hell no. I am actually a sadist, actually.
Wait, can we have Cheesecake Sunako cosplay?
Cheesecake Sunako? What, you want me to wear a cheesecake or something? Like a cheesecake outfit?
Some of the biggest people in the industry, including some very large agency VTubers like Iron Mouse, and also some of the biggest indie VTubers like Sinder, as well as Silvervale,
I hate
will
you,
also be a part of this
That's even
story
better.
Today. So let's begin with the intro of her Google Doc.
Lucia cosplay. I do want to cosplay as Lucia. I wanted to share my
experience with Sinder and Red manipulating me, using me, and dragging me into drama while sabotaging, slandering, and spreading lies about people I thought were her closest friends. Not only do I no longer wish to work with Sinder, but I want to share what I've endured over the years and shed light on what she has been doing behind people's backs to protect artists.
I'm not big into VTubers at all, but still I know she was liked. Crazy how you how your image can 180 in 24 hours on such a massive scale. Yeah, I'm just like you know, I have a future VTuber mama that I want to work with, of course, you know, with like fun projects and stuff, but I'm not gonna be like, hey, you know, I'm gonna talk shit about like other VTubers or so in this situation. No, it's just like, you know, that's just not how things work, you know. I don't know, called me old-fashioned, you know. I'm old, so I have a lot of wisdom, and self-respect in you know, this whole, you know, whatever the, well, how old is Sinder anyways? I don't, you know, the one thing I never realized is how old is this woman anyways? Let me see. She's 29. Lies and Sinder. So apparently she's like in 29. She's like 29 is what everyone's saying. So yikes. It's always the young ones. Yeah, it's always the young ones who've gained popularity pretty quickly, who blow up or so in this situation. She's got nothing on you though. I don't know, but it's because I'm like kind of like super laid back. I'm like moist critical. Like I'm a mixture of like moist critical and like Asmongold. Just kind of like laid back and I'll tell you the truth, you know? I didn't even know about this stuff because I don't use Twitter. I randomly stumbled across the same vid. Yeah, that's what I'm going to take a look at to see if I'm missing any information or any tidbits on the situation itself. It's going to be hard to get rid of her face in my mind. She's been a part of my life for a couple of years now. A lot of people say that she's going to graduate or rebrand. Whatever happens, I really don't care in a few years. I can just hope that I could see her again. We'll see what happens. We'll see what's gonna happen. Either she's gonna rebrand or she's not gonna rebrand. She's gonna, you know, take her quote unquote therapy, you know, quotation marks therapy, and go away from the internet and then come back afterwards, you know. But she's definitely not gonna have the actual same numbers as she used to. She's definitely gonna be.
Hard to say this before GTA 6 is crazy.
That's true. We got Cinder's downfall before GTA 6 came out. That's even crazier, to be honest. Now she'll rebrand. She'll probably stay off the internet for a while. Yeah, that's probably what's gonna happen. She's gonna quote unquote take therapy. So take that as your own grain of salt, you know.
And friends that may be experiencing something similar.
It's always the young ones.
Based on working with
always
Redacted,
the young ones, to be honest.
Red, Cinder's manager, and Cinder over the years. I am sure that they speak for one another, and there is no reason to believe Red was acting without Cinder's consent and knowledge. Whenever I use they
true.
or them,
You're
it
not wrong there,
refers
Clyde.
to both of them acting as a team. So the first thing to cover here is, who is this redacted or red individual who's being mentioned many times? And it's important to understand
goes
who
on
they
a
are
break
because
and
their
shit
name will
hits
come
the
up
fan.
over and over.
That's true. I love Charlie. He's fun and also has a comic company. Yeah, I'm more, like I said, for me specifically, as a, if I have to like compare myself to other people in the space,
can never have break lol.
in the content creation space, I'm more literally in the realms of like Penguin Zero and Asmongold, basically. You know, I look at everything logically, try to look at all the evidence, all the documents and everything, take a look at it, read it, you know, make my own conclusion on the situation itself, kind of make a fun jab and a meme or so, and then it's pretty much about it.
Over again, especially in a lot of the early screenshots we're going to be seeing. So this is the redacted individual, Red, as they're known here, and this is their pinned tweet on social media, and they are Cinder's manager. Now, I picked this pinned tweet to show
cool
because I
we need in life.
this image. It's from WeebCon 2024, where I was a featured guest, and I mention this because I attended it in person.
Oh wow!
I got a bird's eye view of everything
I didn't
going
know about
on
that, actually.
at the convention, and there was a lot of big names at this convention, especially from the VTubing scene. But I don't think anyone was as big as Cinder. She brought in a lot of people to this convention. That
just doesn't make any sense. Like, if she brought so many people to this event and everything, that means she's already made it big. She's already at the top. Just like, why do you still continue this attitude, this issue? You know, why? What's the reason? Where are you gonna go from here? You know?
God damn.
Cinder should have taken notes from Rachel Aguilera's recent downfall and chill it. Yeah.
Meet and greet line
I
was out
just
the
don't
door.
get
Her
it. I
merch
just
was
don't
flying off the
understand.
shelves. Every event, including the concert she participated in, was filled to the brim with fans. She was a very big deal. Now, I bring that up not to like gas her up or something, but to show that she is doing very
Scrooge
well
MC
financially. She is at the
behavior.
top of
That's true. I still don't fully understand what she was doing. I just don't understand why she still kept doing this, you know? Like, what was the thought process of this? You've already made it to the top.
And she doesn't really have a need.
Is she trying to take over the title of Iron Mouse or something? I don't know. Is Iron Mouse the #1 VTuber? I think Iron Mouse is the #1 VTuber, right? Why is she trying to go after, you know, Iron Mouse? She's already made it to the top, you know, top 10, you know? She was popular, you know?
Need for more money and more fame, as it would seem to the normal person, which makes her actions, where she's privately sabotaging her own friends in the industry, even more crazy, because it's totally unnecessary with her circumstances. Now, continuing on with this Red individual, you can see this response to
I've
what we'll
seen this
see is
one.
Cinder's
Yeah,
first and
I've seen this
only
one
response to
before.
this entire thing, actually ratioing her. Okay, this is from Van Peaches. She's someone who's been around the ASMR and VTubing scene for many years. She said this: I remember playing Phasmophobia with you and hearing Red chat away next to you before you debuted like 4 years ago. You told me he was your boyfriend. Then before we met for TwitchCon, you switched up and said, just
She
so
was
you know,
literally
my
sitting at
manager
home
is
and raking
coming
in
with
money.
me
All she had to
on this
do was be a
trip,
good
as
human
if
being.
I didn't know who he was.
Yep.
It's even ickier to read this tweet knowing he is your significant other and that you're probably going to try and avoid taking responsibility for hurting people who trusted you as friends by nuking the red side of this duo. Now this is crazy. Once again, for the 1,000th time.
I don't understand. I feel like, yeah, because Garland is kind of writer, so it's like, you know, it feels like it's, you know, the clout situation again. You know, it's just literally more. They want more clout. You know, even though she already has the clout, but it just makes no sense to get more. You know, I don't even know where my money went that I gave to her. I bet it went to her to spend on herself. I wouldn't be surprised. But there's nothing wrong. Like, there's nothing wrong to earn money or so to spend on yourself, right? There's nothing wrong with it, right? But you have to, like, you know, I'm always, you know, I'm gonna be honest with my chat or so. You know, greed no bounds. That's the one thing about you humans or so about it. Once you have a taste of, you know, of money wise, you guys decide to spiral out of control because you've never had this much amount of money, you know? Like, I'll be honest with you guys, you know, I always ask my community, I'd be like, hey, you know, there's a chair, I need to buy me a new gaming chair, I'm gonna let you guys know specifically, or like, I need to buy a new GPU, I'm gonna let you guys know about it because I want you guys to know about it because this is all for the stream and the stream you know, in the stream itself, you know? I'd be telling you guys, hey chat, you know, there's a, you know, my chair is the cushion is basically going out. I need to get a new chair, you know. Go chair subathon when? Never. A new house to pay rent at. Well, there's nothing wrong of, like, you know, buying something that you've like worked for, you know, trying to earn, you know, something like that. Are you still rocking my favorite GPU still? The 3060? Yeah, I still have my 3060 still.
The VTubing scene, the VTuber manager turns out to also be the secret boyfriend. Many
always
many
lets her
such
chat
cases,
know where our
but
subs
this
are
is
invested
very
in.
messy
She
because
is awesome.
Yeah, I always let everybody know, like, what I'm investing in. You know, I told you guys, I'd be like, I'm getting new panels, I'm getting a new overlay, I'm getting a new emotes, I'm getting new emotes as well, because I told you guys. I'm gonna, you know, I'm not showing you guys what it looks like or stuff because I want to keep it as a surprise, but we are getting those stuff in the future, so expect that to be coming out later in the future. And then, you know, I tell you guys to be like, okay, I'm gonna be making this purchase, I'm gonna ask you guys what you guys think, because at the end of the day, you guys are my community, and I want to let you guys know and be like, hey, you know, I need to.
She spends it all on instant noodles. WAJAJA.
No, I do not. I have a separate fund for that. I literally just tell you guys to be like, hey guys, you know, I'm gonna be using the money to do this and do that. You know, sometimes I'll do something for mom or so. You know, I'll spend something for mom. You know, I am using some of the Twitch fund for my sister's.
Winter
you know,
exposing co.
You know, for my sister's wedding. There's that as well. So I'm just letting you guys know what I'm doing right now at this very moment. So that's the only reason why.
there seems to be an issue of loyalty here. Now, there was another Google Doc that was released by this Rain individual who is part of the ASMR scene, who shared this detailing their experience.
No, you
with
didn't. Shut the
Cinder
fuck
in
up.
private, where at the time, seemingly when Cinder was with
It's
this
just
red
really heartbreaking for me if you just look at her model. She looks so cute and innocent, but I don't know how to get her out of my mind. It breaks my heart to see her do this. Her career is definitely over, as the saying goes, all things come to an end, and I guess this is where the chapter closes. 07.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Definitely, this is definitely like a pretty heavy black stain, not on just Cinder's career, but also in the VTuber industry as well. Because you expect, you know, the super big content creators to be responsible, professional, and all of this other stuff, you know, on their, you know, on like to not be in trouble, like in this situation itself, you know.
Individual, the manager boyfriend, she was cheating on him with this guy via sexual personal messages and stuff like that.
No.
And I'm not going to sit here and read
No.
through all this. It's very clear, and the context is abundantly clear
Chat
that
Co
everyone
promised
involved
she
in
will
this
do 2B
new Cinder
cosplay
was
for
in a
1,000 subs
relationship,
pay up.
and she
That is not happening.
was venting embarrassing details of their relationship to this guy, and also they were sharing sexual messages and seemingly also like not safe for work photos possibly and stuff like that. Clearly there was that sort of thing going on.
She was cheating.
Here. And of course
that doesn't damage her career, but that's just kind of like, it's kind of a bit fucked up, you know. That's the only thing. Oh no, why'd you do that? Oh.
Welcome to the gaming crew, Hydrofire 19. Your subscription fuels
Oh,
our
no.
gaming journey with excitement and energy.
Oh,
Let's
no.
dive into thrilling quests together and create amazing memories. Nyaru and I are grateful for your support.
Oh, goodness gracious me. Thank you for the follow.
Welcome to the gaming crew, Jet_Luna.
Oh, goodness gracious
Your
me.
subscription fuels our gaming journey with excitement and energy. Let's dive into thrilling quests together and create amazing memories. Nyaru and I are grateful for your support.
It's gonna be a hot minute.
Welcome to the gaming crew, Peyton
cheers.
PT. Your subscription
I can
fuels
never,
our gaming
I can
journey
never
with
find, I
excitement
can never
and
find the
energy.
problem for
Let's
that.
dive into
Actually,
thrilling
that's the
quests
problem.
together and create amazing memories.
I don't know how to fix
Nyaru
that.
and I are grateful for your support.
Yeah.
Welcome to the gaming crew, Rixulus.
Oh,
Your
great.
subscription fuels our gaming journey with excitement and energy. Let's dive into thrilling quests
You could have
together
not wait
and create
after the
amazing
video.
memories. Nyaru and I are grateful for your support.
Jeez.
Welcome to the
Oh,
gaming
my
crew,
God.
Slayer Mike. Your subscription fuels our gaming journey with excitement and energy. Let's dive into thrilling
Technology.
quests together and create amazing
I
memories.
love working with technology,
Nyaru
you know.
and I are grateful for your support.
Are you done, Bertrand? Okay. Looks like Bertrand is done.
person's no
All
saint.
right, let's continue
They're
on the video.
interfering with a relationship.
I'm gonna have to cut that
and all
out,
but it just
unfortunately.
proves there's a very big question of loyalty with Cinder.
No, it's
and we're
not
gonna see
that. That's not
pretty
what it
much
is or
replicated
so
with her
for 2B
friendships throughout
cosplay.
this video.
They already know what it is.
And this is the response. And I guess she's not even loyal to the manager boyfriend, because her first and only response to this situation
Oh, she got
currently
community
is this tweet
noted.
that she made shortly after the first Google Doc was released, and it seemed like an attempt to get on top of this, but it's just backfiring. So she said, effective immediately, redacted, will no longer be managing or overseeing my VTuber activities. He no longer represents me as a creator, my brand, or my intentions. I'm sorry, everyone. I'll make a larger response when I'm able. So, as we saw, Van Peaches would correct Cinder in the replies and ratio her, saying, by the way, this was your boyfriend the whole time, and I predicted you would do
Okay, I
this.
might have to go getting very emotional again. I'm going to cry myself to sleep. Thank you guys for being so nice. Much love, beautiful model and voice. By the way, subscribe now.
Much love to you, Brooklyn. I'm giving, you know, lots of hearts and lots of love and heart for you. You know, you are welcome. You are welcome to come hang out with me at any time. Not any problem at all, Brooklyn. Okay, all right. I know I know it's pretty heavy for everybody here, so please take it easy. Take care of yourself, you know, and I hope you come back, you know, a little bit more cheery, you know. So Tony Montana made it. His band feeds and then greed and power. Yep. I feel like it's what it is. It's just constant greed and power.
But
and
also keep
popularity,
in mind, with these
so.
sort of teaser apologies where they're
envious
like
too as
hinting
well.
at what they're going to discuss in
Jealousy.
the apology that's going to come out whenever.
Take care,
It's about what you
Brooklyn. Be
mention
safe,
and what you
hon.
don't
Be
mention. And
safe.
the only thing she really mentions here is redacted, basically kicking the VTuber manager boyfriend to the side and saying, oh, I'm sorry about everything he did. And that's really all she covers. She doesn't cover anything she said herself or any of the really crazy stuff we're going to be seeing in these Google Docs. But yeah, not a very good start. But let's return to the Google Doc, the initial one from Nanolis, saying this, slandering other creators.
Yeah, anyone's welcome to come hang out with me, you know.
I will start with screenshots showing them speaking ill of other creators and spreading rumors while manipulating me. That's It's all in our best
Know your
interest.
fucking
In
place.
addition to
Trashed.
spreading ill rumors,
Take it
they
easy,
also
take it
complain and
easy, Chad. I
accuse
get it.
Bao
You guys are angry. Take it easy. We gotta go through all of this. We gotta go through all of this
of
so I can,
giving
like, you
their
know.
editor too much work, and referring there
I do feel
to,
bad for
I
the
guess,
pyro
either
pups,
a
to
joint
be honest.
effort between those parties, or Cinder.
It's almost that situation or so of what's his name or so from Niji Sanji, Yago, or whatever his name is, when Yago graduated or something like that or so, and then all the community literally had nowhere to go. This is basically like, you know, and I watched Cinder, so I'm chilling and playing Mush Runner Wilds. Yeah, no worries, you're fine.
Not really sure, but anyways, it says resulting in the editor not having any time for new clients, which will be important later on. The screenshots
not even
below
for VTubers
show
too.
them showing their affection and
No, it's one of the Niji Sanji people or so that graduated. I forgot what their name was. Yago or something like that. Yago or Nago or something like that. I forgot what it was or so. And then the whole entire community was a bit in distraught or so. They had like nowhere to go. It's like kind of like basically the community of Cinder. The community of Cinder is like they're lost. You know, they're completely, you know, they're distraught. They're baffled. They're all the definition or so of like, you know, being shocked and everything. You know, they can't seem to, like, some of them are trying to slowly process, some of them are coping, some of them, you know, the stages of grief, you know, and, you know, everything is, you know,
and appreciation
I get it, I understand,
followed
you know,
by
well, not really,
spreading
but like,
rumors
you know,
and lies to make other clients appear problematic to manipulate any future decisions regarding commissions. Now, they share various screenshots proving what they just said, but because we have the name drop here,
the community,
that is, of
Cinder's
course,
community is
Bao the
completely...
Whale. He was another very successful independent VTuber who would make her own response to this situation.
That's the worst part about it.
She was hurt by someone she considered a friend, discovering all these messages.
Not even a friend, family. I would assume they were like family, you know, they were like sisters, you know?
Are trying to blackball her, at least with some of the artists she wishes to work with in the industry. So she would share some of this in her Google Doc.
Yeah, I read this one already.
You can see at the beginning, she clarifies again, as Nanolist did, that because she was close and worked with Cinder for years and considered her a friend, she can say, based on her experience, that Cinder and Red...
That's the worst part about it, to be honest.
...to the extent in which Red operates as her primary point of contact in her professional and personal projects, and they believe that basically any effort done by
it's
Red...
not even your friend, that's like your sister, you know? Basically. I'm young, but been through insane stuff over the years. Manipulative people like Cinder act like actual children when approached about it. They can't grow up and take it on the chin. As a result, they just start kicking and screaming that it's not their fault. I'm much younger than Cinder, and I can see how shitty she is here. A third grader could see how shitty she looks here. Yeah, and I'm like, I'm old, you know, and I can even tell that this entire situation is completely just shit overall.
Is something that was known about and approved by Cinder, which is not surprising given the fact it's the manager boyfriend. Okay, so let's get into some of the things that were said about Bao. So in March of 2024, I announced that one of my subathon goals was a live 2D model. Nanolist was going to be the live 2D illustrator. So if you're not familiar with what that means, basically, she set a sub goal where she would then commission Nanolist to make a new model for her, some sort of enhancement of whatever she already had, and that is a very big endeavor. I believe Nanolist's commissions for a VTuber
the
model
silver,
like,
in my personal opinion, the Silvervale, the Silvervale part was actually pretty shitty in my personal opinion.
10 grand. Like, they're very, very expensive investments. So this is
I like Silvervale. I think
also,
she's pretty cool in my personal opinion, because she gives off, you know, Silvervale gives off like genuine, like, just like a lot of genuineness, you know.
Bao was very excited.
Like, she's just like a legit person, you know.
With Nanolist because her models
she just gives off
good.
that like complete vibe, you know, and I respect that a lot. So, you know.
But she continues on.
I give a lot of respect to her.
Both the design and base model sketch, there was suddenly back and forth
Oh yeah.
on whether or
The
not
spite situation
she
was also
had
pretty
the
terrible too.
physical and mental capacity to continue my model. I was very sad as I had not only teased a screenshot of the model sketch on Twitter, but I had also grown very attached to the design and showed it to all my friends in a private group chat that Cinder was a part of. I shared how devastated I was, and she did not comment or say anything despite others in the group chat comforting and reassuring me. I now realize that the reason for her silence was because Cinder and Redacted were deliberately sabotaging ongoing commissions and blocking VTubers such as myself from having access to art from Nanolis.
That's the shitty thing about it too, as well, where she was like completely like, because Redacted and Redacted was basically like trying to say, because they said us, we, the words as in like both of us basically. Redacted was basically saying, because I'm saying Redacted because that's what you see in the DMs is Redacted. It's completely like trying to shit talk the other VTubers. I can apologize for stealing a pen dispenser would be more authentic than a genuine her response at all. It should just make it worse. Why would you stop your friends from getting art? You should be sharing it around. If I had a good artist or so, well, not a good artist, but if I like commissioned a good artist or so and stuff like that, right? I put in a word or so to be like, hey, there's some VTuber friends that want art from you because they think your art is really great because I got one from you. I would rather introduce the artist to more clients instead of keeping it away. The worst thing about it too, on top of that, during the document itself, Redacted would say that like, oh, your art would be less special or so if you make more more VTuber babies or something like that, and it's kind of like, I'm like, what do you mean by that? Are you trying to say like, you're basically trying to trying to trick her. So it's saying that like, oh no, you have to, come work with us instead, be hours only,
So you can see this screenshot.
Yeah, for each new one.
Multiple times throughout.
That was one of the things that Redacted
basically
said.
Trying to set up an exclusivity deal with Nanolis. So Redacted here saying, what about we pay you X and you don't have to discount it from the next payment, and we'll continue giving you lots of model work, I think like around 4 years right now, but you don't work with Bao, a censor name.
It was, if I remember correctly, it was Bao. I saw the original without the white mark. It was fuck, I don't remember the actual situation, but I think one of them was was it Shy Lily? Was it Lily? Or was it Cotton? It was one of them or so. I don't remember off the top of my head because I remember seeing it without the censored thing. That's why.
At all, again, models or art. I don't think you've ever done anything with Bao before. Also, we have some other work, yada, yada, yada. So what they're trying to say is, if you agree to this, we'll pay you a certain amount to just work exclusively with us and not with anyone else in the industry, which is already kind of a potentially scummy move, right? You're trying to like gatekeep this artist, but someone having an exclusive artist isn't exactly a crazy thing.
No,
but in this case, it is because one of the targets, Bao, was their friend. They're basically chopping off contact with.
There was one thing or so that Giga pointed out that I saw in a video or so. There's no problem of having like an artist or an art style exclusive to you, right? There's no problem with that, right? There's no problem of having like like as in like she put it in a good example or so. Like the art style of SpongeBob, right? Nickelodeon, paid him a contract or so to have that specific art style on their show. There's nothing wrong with that, right? With what Giga was saying or so. But the problem is that's not what the situation that we're having here is not the same thing. The problem is this motherfucker was completely, saying, oh, don't even bother working. These people are terrible people, like I saw in like there was one specific line or so about like Shy Lily or so not addressing Cinder's raid or so when Cinder raided her, but then like when I saw the VOD itself, Shy Lily was like, "Oh, hello, little raiders. How you guys doing? You know, blah blah blah." You know, she was doing her usual shit. You know, she was actually doing her like she was welcoming the raiders from Cinder. So I just don't understand where this whole situation where Redacted was saying like, "Oh yeah, Shy Lily was being a little bit weird," you know, and all this other stuff, and you know.
An artist that Bao already works with through this exclusivity agreements, and that is something pretty messed up, if you ask me. Trying to literally sabotage their own career and some of their activities so they can basically keep reins on this artist because they don't want this artist to enhance the careers of the people around them. But they get even crazier down here. They say, we could do it when blank asks for art, you tell her no, and then tell us to buy another art piece. Like, so
I think that one is question mark?
Get another job,
or it was a different, or it was a different person.
Find out. Spoiler alert: this is Silvervale.
Oh, Silver, right? Sorry, my bad. Sorry.
So
I'm trying. There's so much shit that was happening here, so sorry about that, chat.
Make up things to commission just to make sure.
Right, Silvervale came out a little bit more later. Yeah.
Anything from this artist. It's a pretty crazy endeavor that they're going for with this stuff, but. Let's talk about the other things that were said about Bao. There's a bunch of screenshots. Again, I'm just going to sum them up for the sake of brevity here, where they tried to pepper Nanolis with a very negative image of Bao.
Yeah, here it is.
And then they present the exclusivity event or agreement. They want to make it seem like Bao is this unreliable, bad person who's gonna ultimately be a disappointment for Nanolis, so you might as well sign this exclusivity agreement with us. That's what.
Bro, as much as I make fun of Bao or so of her liking, you know, not dogs, but wolfmen anyways, furry, you know, her being a furry, you know, I make fun of her, you know, being a furry and everything, right? And her literally orgasming on the ZZZ pulls, you know, right? You know, it's like I'm still like not gonna hate her or anything. I'm not gonna disrespect her or anything like that. I think I just rather make fun of her because I think it's funny, you know, because it's like I like, you know, it's just funny, you know.
They were going for. They were saying stuff about how she's been trying to take away
Silvervale for some of them.
That they're convinced that she tried to.
Yeah, it's all in good taste, you know. It's like basically like, you know, you having a little what's the word or so banter, you know, basically just having a good old banter, you know, just be like, you know, she can also like, you know, she can say like weird shit, you know, she has every right to say like, you know, she can make fun of me too as well, you know. I have no problem at all, you know. I can take it as well, so
editors to no longer work with
Redacted, you're not wrong on that,
and Cinder, and that she's trying to bark up the tree of one of their live 2D animators, and that it's so annoying and that she has all these issues. It's really just lined out here. She's been getting on their nerves for a while. She hijacked their YouTube editor, constantly picking up artists that they work with, barking up the tree of the live 2D animators, and also, as pointed out right down here, she has a way of guilt-tripping people to get her way, which is an incredibly ironic thing.
Are we allowed to make fun of you? I make fun of myself.
To be saying in this context. But as you can see, it just continues.
I should probably answer your question.
More things, trying to basically push down these other creators and form this.
Bro, I make fun of myself all the time.
Agreement that will ultimately work to the benefit of Cinder
all the
and
time,
to the detriment
always,
of the other potential clients. But of course, we had that whole thing where they had to cancel.
You're talking to someone who grew up in Call of Duty days. No one is more harsher. Nobody in this world can be harsher than me myself, okay? Like literally, I am the only person who can bring myself down.
So their endeavor.
Nobody.
With Bao. They had this model in the works and they had to come out of nowhere and basically say, yeah, I gotta cancel this because
always.
Well, I
accept the challenge.
Issues going on,
okay, buddy.
I don't have time for it, the capacity for it. And again, it serves towards this exclusivity agreement, which again, let's shift gears back to the original Google Doc. I know it's like all over the place.
Yeah, it's definitely all over the place with the situation itself.
There is a section about exclusivity and blacklisting other creators. And you can see, in the messages below, they mentioned wanting an exclusivity contract, but they didn't want to pay for exclusivity, but rather when a creator from their blacklist comes asking for a commission, they would guarantee me model work for Cinder only, and if anyone asked for my commissions, they commissioned me instead to compensate for not working with other creators. This felt very strange, given that one of the accusations
much love.
they
Take
made
care,
was
Lord. Be
overworking
safe,
their
hun. Be
editor,
safe.
yet
Thank you for
their
coming by as
solution to
always.
me
Very much
working
appreciated.
with other
So, hey,
creators
Stitch.
was for them to essentially overwork me to keep me from working on other
Shut the fuck
projects.
up.
And again, yes, the irony is pretty palpable here, but again, referring to some of the stuff down here, the pressure that they're trying to line up over this whole exclusivity thing is crazy. We also see one of our concerns is that more nano babies means nano models don't have the same value anymore.
That is the most dumbest sentence I've ever heard in my entire life, because every VTuber artist, every single VTuber that gets created from the VTuber mama is always special in their own special way. That's the craziest thing about it. That's literally what VTuber mamas are for. They create the new VTuber baby in, like, because each one has their own value, you know?
So, in case you don't know what the nano babies things means, it basically means one of the VTuber models.
I need your advice. My GF told me there is nothing wrong about her immoral PP. I let her L now. I would just like she didn't have one. Any advice?
What? Something about a small peepee? You have a small peepee? What?
They would be referred to as nano babies, right?
Thank you for the follow.
They're trying to put pressure on nanolists, saying if you keep making more models and you keep working with more people and, you know, making a living for yourself, you're going to make these models less valuable for Cinder, and you're going to hurt her bottom line. You can see the angle they're going for right there, but there's also some more redacted sections over here, but Cinder herself would respond to this whole point about the nano babies not having the same value anymore, and she would say this in response to Nanolis saying, "Hey Cinder, hope you're doing okay. I talked with Red, and I believe he talked to you already. I thought it would be best if I just checked here personally. Actually, I wanted to know better your thoughts because Red tried to talk to me, and I think I misunderstood things." They ask, "What's up?" And they say, "Oh, it's mostly this," referring to the diminishing value of these nano babies as they work with more clients. I thought on canceling some models because of it, but then I realized it's not really fair to me. They're starting to realize, wait a second, this isn't very fair. Where Cinder responds by saying, "I understand what he means, but at the end of the day, it's just business."
That right there, that line, when I read this line, when I saw this, I was like, oh, ooh, that definitely, that is going to kill your career very fucking fast, to be honest.
That is the quote that people are taking away from this. We've heard other
it's just good
quotes
business
in the VTubing scene that have backfired or presented themselves as very ironic with context, but the whole thing about
her being a shitty person, yeah, pretty much Hammer.
At the end of the day is a perfect summation of what's going on here. It's all just business.
Thank you for the follow. Welcome,
Cinder, and that's okay, right? On its face, it's okay to treat this like a business and to try to maximize your opportunities.
Yeah, that's fine.
But when you're already at the top of the VTubing scene,
exactly,
and you're privately going around and sabotaging the careers of your own friends and other peers, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy behavior. Now, let's go back to this right here. You're seeing some more redacted names.
Thank you for the follow.
Don't work
Welcome,
with
welcome.
blank ever again. Down here, again.
That's why I made the meme or so of the Pirates of the Caribbeans of literally saying it's just good business. I referenced the meme itself in one of the Cinder documents, or not the Cinder, but one of the documents.
Don't work with these people ever again. And there was also this mention about when someone asked for art, this particular individual. Well, we know who this individual is now. It is Silvervale, another person who is very popular in the VTubing scene and really just content creation in general.
Yep.
And she made her own statement about this because based on context, she figured out a lot of these mentions were about her. But this is an interesting one because she's not friends with Cinder.
Yeah, she's not friends with Cinder.
In fact, a lot of the details we're going to see is a lot of pressure being put on Silvervale by Cinder to form a business relationship or a forced friendship, really just for financial opportunities, that leaves Silvervale uncomfortable and constantly rejecting Cinder and her ideas regarding those things I just mentioned. But let's begin with the intro from Silvervale, saying her intention is to give herself closure of these events that personally affected her. I debated on if I
read this
wanted to
document
even
as
say
well.
anything. After being asked if I
I read a lot of documents. It was a long reading, I'll be honest with you.
Bigger than just my personal experience. However, after finding out how wide and extensive the transgressions were, I feel the need to give clarity to my situation and how I was personally affected. I want to note, as others have, that a majority of the messages are from redacted Cinder's manager.
It is very long, especially reading all of them. Yeah.
Solely on his own intentions without Cinder's knowledge or consent, given the extent to which he has represented her publicly and professionally. And she talks about some of these situations involving things we've already talked about, but the big part here is now the reveal that this exclusivity agreement not only targeted Bao and this censored name, but also Silver, and then directly mentions Silvervale down here.
There it is.
Saying if Silver ever asks for art, you tell her no, and then we'll buy you another piece of art. Like I said, literally burning their own money just to make sure Silvervale doesn't have an opportunity to work with this artist.
That's the most craziest thing to hear that, to be honest. In my personal opinion, I'm like, fucking A, dude. Has like 2.5 hour video about this whole thing. So yeah, I imagine this is going to be long. Yeah, no, this is going to be a long video.
Pretty wild stuff. But of course, we look through everything and it's getting pretty unhinged. So down here we see Cinder making a claim that we'll see repeated multiple times. So when Nanolis starts saying that they're sorry for stepping back on this exclusivity deal, that they wanted to apologize
you busted
to
twice.
Cinder, and that they've talked with Red as well, and they want to be dragged into personal issues and drama and stuff like that, and that they don't want to basically abandon Silvervale as a client, and it's destroying their mentality to do that kind of a deal. Cinder says, I get it, Nano, and it was unfair to push this on you, but it's just really confusing going back and forth about it. I just get compared to her a lot, even still today. And it's like, I'm always living in someone's shadows, which is one reason why Red asked you about not making any more models.
Yeah, but I reread the documents already, so.
So you can see that this comparison to Silvervale is just living rent-free in her mind.
It's
and
just
also
good
just
business.
Speaking casually here, like I don't really get the connection that much. And also I would say Cinder really shouldn't be so threatened by everyone around her. Like I said, she's up at the top. I don't know why she's so hostile to everyone that's even close to her. But of course,
that makes no sense to be hostile whatsoever.
Of someone kind of ripping off their brand, reminding people too much of themselves or being compared to, is something we've seen before with Nyantails here, okay, someone from the ASMR scene pointing out that a couple years back they were dogpiled by their community, by Cinder's community, because she decided to make a Cuddles with a Lonely Hellhound ASMR audio. Okay.
What? That's it? That's it?
Okay, so in case it wasn't clear already, Cinder has a Hellhound themed VTuber.
Okay.
And people in her community,
but she doesn't own the IP of Hellhound. Hellhound is an actual, like, mythological creature, or like an actual creature, so from hell. So it's just like, she doesn't own the word Hellhound, okay? It's like basically me owning the word Nyarlathotep or like mommy or something. It makes no fucking sense. I didn't know about this.
Seeing that someone had the audacity to try to claim any sort of ownership of a hellhound concept, even making an
is she gonna copyright strike her so the hellhounds from Call of Duty? Is that what she's gonna do as well? Damn, that's crazy.
ASMR roleplay audio using the concept of a hellhound. They thought that was ripping off Cinder. And people in the community were saying stuff like, you're cringe, she was getting dogpiled, had to remove a lot of this stuff because
that's weird.
of the overwhelming dogpiling. And you can see on tweets like this, liked by Cinder.
Yikes.
And also redacted as well.
Yikes.
Not too surprising. But this pettiness and this crazy notion that she owns the concept of a hellhound and is supporting people dogpiling on this other creator because she dared to use the concept for an ASMR roleplay is wild. The unbelievable pettiness is crazy and also just reminiscent of a better time in Lights Republic. Oh, miss those days.
What, that means we're smart now?
Let's go back to the art or the
it would be a good
Silvervale.
VTuber drama show or something like that, or Netflix show, you know?
For the, oh my god, 25 minutes we've been talking. Okay, this to me is the most brutal, hard watch of this entire thing. It's just embarrassing, and again, the greediness is off the charts. So it's titled Cinder and I. Discovering that all of this was going on behind the scenes has been gut-wrenching. I didn't know Cinder. We weren't friends, and we have barely talked. Even writing this, I do not understand what I could have possibly done to warrant the level of malice and cruelty shown. In our private interactions, I was cordial as possible, but I just wasn't interested in associating with her professionally or being her friend. From the few uncomfortable interactions I did have with her, I had gotten the vibe that her primary goal was to climb the social and content ladder and grow her brand. And she goes on to say, like, okay, if you want to do that, that's fine, but I just don't want to be associated with someone like that at all. Just trying to pretend to be a friend for the purposes
that's fine.
of growing their brand.
That's why that's the one thing why I kind of like I respect Silvervale, and I think she's a cool person or so, because like she just gives off like genuine feelings, like genuine vibes, you know? Like she's like, you know, she doesn't really care about the growth or like climbing the ladder or like, you know, having to collab with someone bigger or so to go up higher in the VTuber ranking leaderboard, you know? She just kind of like just wants to do content creating, you know? She wants to do stuff, you know? And that's the one thing, you know?
So then we get this screenshot.
I know,
saying
poor
the only time
Silvervale,
I'd
to be
actually
honest.
talked to her directly was during my meet and greet at TwitchCon 2023. I just finished my meet and greet, and as I was wrapping up, she walked directly to the
my nose is so
screen to
stuffy
meet me
because of allergies,
and had
as
someone
always.
else take a picture of us together. I was not informed of this picture or asked permission for it, and only knew about it once I saw it on Twitter later on. And you can see Cinder cosplaying her own character, talking to Silvervale on the meet and greet, the virtual meet and greet, and she captioned it, "Stop by to say hi after my meet. Wolf girls," like trying to imply
also
like,
remember this interaction
united
happened
and
after the Hogwarts Legacy drama.
Wait, I thought Silvervale was a fox. She's a wolf? No. All right. I thought she was a fox, that's why.
They're in this together, even though this was the first conversation
I didn't know she was a wolf.
they ever had.
I thought she was
like
a fox.
A very lame attempt to present this fake friendship or a fake mutual respect here, and to somehow
I don't even know anymore.
Gain some of her
I don't know
community
anymore.
as a result. Very strange stuff. And you can see later on there'd be more discussions. I believe this is Silvervale's manager saying, also, Cinder really loved meeting you and wanted to collab, so I told her I'd let you know and I could throw you guys in a group chat if you're interested. And Silvervale would say, "Hello, I appreciate the sentiment, but I don't prefer collabs." And the manager says, "No worries. I hope you're having a good weekend." And Silvervale says,
I don't think that's the manager. I think if I remember correctly... Was it? Oh, I think so. I think it probably was actually.
Thanks.
I think
Still
it
busy
was.
with a lot of IRL
Big
stuff. Sorry
fan
for not being
shaking my
consistent
head.
with collabs. I just like to do my own thing. But I'm always
I wouldn't
open to
consider
Poe is
myself as a
suggestions.
fan.
IP for mommy
So
title.
then after that, Cinder would then reach out directly to Silvervale
Ay, ay, ay.
and have this private DM saying, "Hi Silver, sorry for getting back to you late. I've been super sick from TwitchCon, yada yada yada. But yeah, no worries if you don't prefer to stream together. My manager suggested something more like sponsorships, merch, music, or some kind of other project together that maybe Mythic could help with if needed. I love to chat more either way." And Silvervale responds by saying, "No worries, it's been super
Thank you for the
hectic
follow.
and busy
Welcome,
for
welcome.
everyone. I hope you're feeling better. I'm really flattered by the persistence, but I'm just not interested in transactional relationships with anyone. I hope you can understand."
That makes sense.
So they saw all the
that makes
context
sense.
of
That's
these
fine.
interactions
You
between
know.
managers and then through Cinder herself, and said, "You're proposing a transactional relationship. Like every aspect of this, even the interacting here, is just part of a transactional relationship, and I don't want that. Basically,
She stopped doing
go
collabs
away."
after the Hogwarts Legacy drama. Oof, yikes. Poor
Based.
girl. Poor baby
Pretty
girl,
impressive.
to be
I mean,
honest.
she came up with the phrase Twitter freaks like 2 years ago, but this is up there with that. Pretty base stuff right here. But then we would get more comments from Redacted pretty much on the same subject, talking about how, like, at the end of the day, it isn't about how much we can make compared to her. We just want her to recognize, hey, Cinder's a big VTuber too. She got there on her own merits, just like you did. Get along. And the marketing potential and the money they could make if they teamed up. I love how that's the only part that's in all
Jeez,
caps.
yep.
That is clearly
Yep.
the most important part of this proposed relationship between Cinder and Silvervale. It was all about making money, and when they got told no, they're now coping and seething in these messages, and they even went as far as implying that some of Silvervale's various projects, like a spinning figure, was just copycatting Cinder. That they were trying to piggyback on her ideas and basically try to replicate it, and that this was feeding into this narrative that people were allegedly
Yeah,
making,
take care of
that there's
Ruben.
some
Be
sort of
safe,
a
hon. Be safe.
copycat
Yeah, I remember
situation here,
this.
that people are associating the two together, and it's driving them crazy.
Dude, the amount of like mental gymnastics and like the what's the word or so what's the word, paranoid, like the most I've never seen such a person so paranoid in my entire life, and on this situation itself. Yeah, no, this is yikes.
And they want Silvervale to recognize Cinder, and that they feel there's an unspoken competition. Remember, at this point, Silvervale pretty much doesn't even know who Cinder is, and when there was a proposed set of interactions, they pretty much said, "Go away. I don't want this transactional relationship." I don't know why Silvervale just like completely mind broke these two people, but yeah, the proof is there. And of course, as a result of all of this, it gets pretty unfortunate because then, through this whole exclusivity issue, Silvervale lost out on a model commission from Nanolist.
True.
And that is the whole issue here, because this was something she was looking forward to, and it was taken away from her because Cinder and Redacted didn't want her to have the benefit of working with Nanolist, because they knew it was a good career opportunity for her, or at least something special to her community. This whole thing is a complete and utter mess.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it. There's still some other important stuff,
Of course.
but I want to keep this somewhat brief, and if we have to do a follow-up, we certainly will. But the reaction to this has been brutal, to say the least. I think the overwhelming majority of people are not happy with Cinder in the situation. And now some of these old
Cinder ruins her
thumbnails from,
friendships.
their clip channels are not doing great. Cinder ruins her friendships.
My friends should have never trusted me.
Here's another one. My model artist exposes all my secrets.
Damn, dude. When I saw that, I thought that shit was funny, not gonna lie.
And then we also see that fans are saying, "Are you kidding me? I just bought my Cinder body pillow."
Ooh.
And then you see on her Discord
Oh,
server,
yeah, I saw this
When
one
you've
too.
only
shut
had
down.
yes men and rabid fans around you, your ego gets overinflated to where you think you can get away with anything. Cinder literally had everything to make her career last for years, and all of it came crashing down in a single day. Also, Kirsch and Asman just happened to be on vacation. Keklol.
I know, and it was my day off too. Yeah, yesterday. It was my day off yesterday, and the day before that, and the day before that, and fucking shit hits the fucking wall so hard that the fucking wall came crumbling down from this actual, this entire shit.
They've locked everything, and they're trying to spin some damage control here. It's not great. This whole thing is reflected really badly on her. Like I said, it's one thing, you find out someone behind the scenes is not a very nice person, but it takes on a whole nother level when you're privately sabotaging the careers of not just your peers, but also people you claim to be friends with, or people who thought they were friends with you, but in the end, they were just a threat to Cinder's bottom line. But that's going to do it for this video. As always,
The universe is unhappy. Yeah, apparently the universe gets so pissed off of me taking a break, apparently. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. This shit is pretty shitty. And yeah, for those who are watching this video as well, which will be posted tomorrow, right? I did read the apology, the actual apology video, and I have to say it is definitely a pretty not so great apology, so it's definitely not good at all. I've taken a look at it, I've read it, and it is pretty shitty. It is definitely a very sad day in the VTuber community space. I'll be honest with you. It's not just bad. The problem is it's gonna have a giant ripple effect in the entire, because she hurt the friend group that she was in, right? Where, they can just have fun, they can be themselves, and just have a good time and everything like that, right? Without there being any competition or or anything of that sort of, or any of that sort of situation, right? She's already losing followers already. She's already below 300k followers now. Yikes. She was over at 300. She was over 300k followers. Now she's down to 297 now, and it'll probably slowly go downwards too as well, which is kind of saddening at the end of the day. I just only followed it because I needed to take a look at the situation itself, anyways. But yeah, overall. I'm gonna follow just to see if she'll come back. I'll be very curious if she comes back later in the future. I heard that she lost 30,000 already. She lost 30,000. Yikes, that's pretty terrible. Yikers. It's gonna be bad. Number one, this is gonna be bad because there's one problem on this situation itself, right? Now, people in the VTuber community are scared of having a manager. That's number one. Number two, people are terrified or so of questioning people's friendships because of this situation itself. That's also another thing too. That's number two. And then number three, since she was one of the most biggest VTubers in the industry, she kind of destroyed everything that she did, all of it for climbing the social ladder of the climbing the leaderboard for the VTuber, the VTuber scene itself. It kind of basically now, well, she's at 297. She has 297k followers right now at the very moment. Thank you for the follow. Welcome. And unfortunately, my nose is so nasally. I fucking hate it. Hey, Frog. Welcome. That now everyone's starting to question. Everyone's just starting to question or so about the issue itself. They're questioning their friends. Because now I've been tagged in freaking posters, so I'll be I love my VTuber friends and everything like that. I'm damn, dude, this is really already caused, my entire feed is already saying about how much they love their VTuber friends and all this other shit, so yeah. Hey, Ruler, how you been there, hun? Welcome. That's the problem. This is gonna leave a really bad stain in the VTuber community. That's the problem, because like now collaborations are going to be a lot more
There's
harder.
9 Google Docs posted by Bao, Silvervale, Spite, Nyantails, Vampeaches, Nanolis and 2 others. 9. Massive Google Docs. Holy Christ.
I don't know. I think this may affect a little with some fans, but overall it will continue as usual. Like what happened. The friendships are going to be a lot more closer, like close knit. You know, it's going to be a lot harder so for like new people to join. You know, to join friendships and friendship groups and stuff like that. So that's going to be a problem as well. So, but we'll see what happens. Anyways, well. What do I think? What do I personally think? I think personally this is a pretty shitty situation itself. That's what I think. The worst part about it, right? Yeah, we already saw all of this. The worst part about it specifically, right? Let me just show you guys one thing, right? The worst thing that I have to say about this situation itself is this part here. Where is it at? Let's see if I can find it. I don't think I can find it, but there's one specific promotional video that was on here. There's one promotional video on here that's kind of like basically showed...
Your mom's watching? Hi, Mom. Your son calls me Mommy, too. Onwards, my...
That's the problem. You know, she plays into that, you know, the whole mommy thing or so, right? If you're quote unquote, look, I'm gonna be honest with you, as your residential VTuber mom around here, you're supposed to support your friends, your VTuber babies, you know, the VTuber babies that you know, like AKA basically your friends, you know. You're supposed to bring them up, you know, rise them up to the occasion, bring them up, you know, and all this other shit, you know, not bring them down, you know. Who knows what's gonna happen with that point, to be honest. Yeah, poor Bao, to be honest. I feel pretty sorry about Bao. I feel pretty sorry for everyone who has been, you know, who's been affected by this actual situation itself. But yeah, quote unquote, you know, your residential VTuber mom, you know, she's not mommy enough. True, she's not mommy enough, but like, as your residential VTuber mom here, you know, I'd rather bring up my VTuber friends up with me. The only reason why I want to grow bigger or so is so I can share my community to those VTuber friends, you know, so they can be able to, you know, they can come rise up with me, you know, together, you know, in our own little special way, you know. That's the reason why I'd rather bring up my VTuber friends up higher than me bringing myself up higher than my VTuber friends. I'd rather bring them up, you know, higher than me, you know. I want them to grow and nurture and become, you know, pretty good VTubers, you know, until they decide to do something stupid, and then I'm gonna be like that's probably what I would do. So like, a la puta madre. But yeah, overall, that's pretty much it. I think this is a pretty shitty situation, and honestly, I'm hoping the Pyro Pups can find a new home. You know, much love to the little Pyro Pups in the community or so. I'm hoping that you guys maybe find somewhere else that is better, you know. Honestly surprised you don't have kids yet. I don't have kids yet. No, I've been single for like forever. Thank you for reminding me. That's pretty much what you say is you are the hunting horn player in the party. Yeah, I play the supportive role. I'm a supportive mom. What do you expect, you know? I support, you know, I want to support my VTuber friends, you know. That's how it is. Battle stream is so heartbreaking. I wouldn't be surprised. I've seen a lot of the videos, so. But yeah. Kids in this economy? Yeah, I want to be a mom. I want to be a VTuber mom. I want to be an actual VTuber mom, so. But yeah, overall, very saddening. My heart goes out to all the all the pups, and I'm hoping, you know, hopefully you find a new home, but just be wary of the VTuber that you support. That's like my own words to say. Just be wary, you know? You really don't know what they really are off stream. Well, actually, to be honest, you guys already know how I am off stream, but I've told you guys how I am off stream, but yeah. Anyways, that's the end of the video. You guys can comment, like, subscribe, do all that fancy jazzy stuff. And honestly, this is going to leave a pretty bad stain in the VTuber community. And yeah, that's the end of the video. And peace. Oh, she's in pain. She's in serious pain.
This whole time, you know, this whole time, like, even in my Google Doc, I didn't put any personal anecdotes in there. I just stuck to what was said in the notes.
True.
In the screenshots.
Was it worth it, Cinder? Was it really worth it? Was it worth all of this? To climb the ladder? To ruin someone here?
Evil and fucked up this shit can get.
Was it worth it? Was it just good business?
And the whole time, like...
Was it?
Like, you do not know how many times I was told to put in my Google Doc the fact that you had a significant other, and no matter how many people told me to put it in and how stupid I would be to not put it in, I could not bring myself to put it in.
That's crazy.
Because I knew what that would do to your reputation, and you could not spare that same. You could not spare that same thought for me.
Even to the bitter end, she still tried to protect Cinder. Even to the very end. That's crazy. That is the most crazy, because she still cared about her at the very end of the day.
It would have been so easy for me to prove that you had seen the messages, but I couldn't do it because in the end, I still wouldn't do that to you, and so I wonder why you would do that to me.
That's crazy. That's crazy to see that, actually. Ay, pobre muchachito, hombre.
And I don't think I've ever been quiet about my health problems either to my friends. How much I struggle with mental health and my TMJ and my PMDD, and like last year,
welcome to the streamer, so welcome.
when my model was canceled, like I was literally recovering from surgery, and how could I have been scheming to take your career down at that time when I was quite literally bedridden?
Ay,
And so,
ay, pobrecito,
I
hombre.
looked at it, when I read your apology, I was just looking for some semblance of... I just wanted to know if you would know what to say. I just wanted to know if you had ever thought of me as a close friend, or if it was just one-sided or not. And I felt like I still didn't know by the end of reading your apology. And that really fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And now I just don't know what to think or what to believe.
It's gonna affect her really badly. It really is going to affect her badly.
How easily I could have turned this into a personal vendetta. But I kept it strictly about the people and the clients that were affected and how their careers were put on pause because suddenly a month-long project was put on hold, and to pivot so suddenly, especially when so many VTuber debuts are tied around a holiday or a birthday on dates that cannot be changed. Say it's a Halloween outfit and then
Ooh, man, what a tough pill to swallow, to be honest. Just let it all out.
how many times, like, how many times, like,
Mm-hmm.
we forgave you when you didn't come to her concert, that you were planning with her for over half a year. I wonder if you knew how devastated she was. And how, in the middle of the year, when I was so depressed, and there were some days where I could not even bring myself to leave my bed, I still managed to fly 6 hours to New York to be there for her.
That's crazy. That's crazy to hear that. Damn.
Why? I just don't. I feel like at every single pivotal moment where you had the choice to be a good person and a good friend, you chose not to be. And no matter how many times me and our friends try to wrap our heads around it and try to make sense of it, we can't. We can't, because every single time we come to the realization that that's not what we would do if we cared.
I can't even wrap my head around the situation as well. What's the reason of this, you know? She's already a big famous VTuber. Why? You know? What was the point? She needs to take a break. She needs to digest and take it easy for a while, you know? She really does. Yeah, you know. Like, I still respect her at the end of the day, even though I do make fun of her furriness, you know, but I'm not gonna disrespect her, you know? I'm not gonna, why would I, you know?
It's at some point, like, what are you even trying to one up? If you share.
That's the problem too. Yeah. What is the point? You know? What was the point of you one-upping your friends? Honestly. There's no excuse there whatsoever. They're your family. They're your friends. You know? They're your sisters and your brothers, bro. That's such a tough pill to swallow. Yeah, no, I know the reason why. But I'm like, there should be no reason to do this because she's already at the top already, you know?
I don't know.
Hmm.
That there's I don't know.
She's definitely broken down right now. She is definitely
At mid-engine 06, this situation is literally one no one saw coming because how can you? She put her trust into this person, and this is greatest form of betrayal.
Ay. Thank you for the follow. Welcome. Ay, pobrecita, hombre. No, hombre. Yeah, I saw the Shy Lily one too as well. She's one of my Oshis at the end of the day, so it's very saddening to see what's happening here.
I saw a tweet today that I have always thought it's one of my favorite quotes from when I was just a cover artist in high school. And to this day, it's still one of my favorite quotes. And it's, "A high tide raises all sails." When I made the friends that I made today, not all of us were hitting 2K, 3K viewers. You know, like, we all were, like, I don't know, a couple hundred. Like, we all grew alongside each other. And there would be days where we would be so happy that so many people showed up to our friends' debuts, and even then, if you're bound to be jealous, get jealous as a content creator.
Am I the only one who doesn't get jealous?
But what you choose to do with that jealousy is what defines your character.
I feel like
You
I'm like
can
the only one
either
who doesn't get jealous. I don't
let
know.
it make you spiteful, or you can fuel it to forge your own success. Because when you're a streamer, yeah, you can share audiences with people, but at the end of the day, you are building your own community.
Exactly. Yeah.
You shouldn't focus on trying to take what other people have, because that's not how you get it. That's what they made for themselves. And it's like trying to fit a puzzle piece into a set where the piece does not fit anywhere into it because it belongs to a completely different other set.
I'm not even jealous whatsoever. Oh, that is a spider over there on the wall. I was wondering what that was. It is a spider. There's a spider on my wall. Mr. Spider, we're having an emotional talk over here, so I'm gonna need you to leave or so, okay? Alright? This happens everywhere and every day. Just this was publicized. Yeah. Kill it?
Like
No, I'm not gonna kill the spider.
I felt like from my point of view.
No, the spider's just standing there. Yeah, the spider's actually watching.
They were so much more further ahead than me than I could even imagine, and
I feel like Bao was definitely more of a bigger content creator than Sinder, in my personal opinion. I don't know, I just thought Bao was a lot more bigger, you know? Personally. Spider's a fan of Bao. Thank you for the follow. Welcome.
I kicked down a ladder that I feel like I initially gave you.
Yikes. Yikers. Mr. Spider, I'm gonna need you to leave.
None of us would be where we are without each other.
That's very true. That's actually very true. Welcome, Miku. It's part of the human nature with jealousy. Remember, humans have every
Shit
7
fucking sucks.
deadly sins inside of them. So, why does that spider look like a crab or so? That's the most strangest.
I don't ever get jealous for stupid things like this moment that Bao is dealing with. Because I just stay quiet and stay quiet at all cost. Bao was a good and very entertainment as a content creator that makes it very funny. Cirxna love F Sonico 2 peak
like,
Sonico 2 peak.
Like
what were these delusional stakes at hand? You know what I mean? Like,
it looks like a crab spider because it looks like it has like
it's not
crab.
like we're in high school and we're competing for prom queen or anything, you know? Like, it's people's livelihoods, it's people's businesses, it's people's brands. That affects them. Like, and I thought we established that by meeting each other in person, that behind this avatar is a human being.
Sorry, Chad. I'm gonna need to grab this spider before it starts slowly walking away somewhere else and I lose sight of it. I need to capture this thing.
It sounds really fucking corny when I say it, but it's true.
I know it's a very sad, emotional thing that's happening, but I need to capture this spider, okay? Hey, Spooter, what are you doing? Come here. Come here. Come on.
I don't know. I just wanted to have a cathartic talk, and shit was.
Sorry, Bao. I'll come back, Bao. I just need to
You could not have had this go on for so long and not know about it. I don't know.
Okay, sorry about that. Sorry. Spider was here. Sorry.
I don't know.
It's just business, I guess. Shut the fuck up. That's gonna be a meme. That's definitely gonna be a meme.
There's nothing worse than putting out and sharing one of the worst moments of your life for the internet to pick apart. And I would not wish that on anyone.
Yeah.
But I feel like if
No, there's no eggs.
I feel like I was tasked with an impossible choice.
True.
And I hated that I had to be in the position where it had to be me to say something or no one else would. And it's not about whether or not I'm right or wrong, but it's the fact that I didn't even want to be in this position to begin with. And I know that for that for so many people to be affected, that it was the right decision to do. But it really fucking sucks that I had to do it in the first place. And I feel like I've been given that impossible task so many times already in my career.
I know this is my second message, but I read a lot of the documents, including Watch Tectone's opinions. I'm in a dark place as
If
well.
I don't say
I feel bad
something,
for
then
all
no one
those who
else
were in the
will.
drama. The crossroads are dark here.
I read all the documents too as well. Yeah, I read them all. I read them all yesterday and also today. Cinder's apology.
If I had a choice to not do it, then I would take it. But I know that would be the wrong choice. And I feel like... And I wish people knew how much this shit fucking sucks so fucking bad.
No, true. Yeah. Quotation marks. Apology. Yeah. Ay, pobrecito, hombre. Ay, pobrecito, hombre. No, hombre. Yeah, she put out a Google document of her apology, but the apology is actually not that good. I read it before stream. That shit was a pretty terrible fucking, you know.
I just wish my apology had any semblance of evidence that you even knew me as a person and not just someone that you had it to surpass. And when I read it, it felt like you did it.
More like good business. This motherfucker. The problem is the apology came out in a single day. That's the worst thing about it. The moment I saw that Cinder posted an apology document, I'm like, this is not going to end well. This is definitely not going to end well. And Lord and behold, it did not end well whatsoever. I knew this was going to be bad.
I don't know.
I knew this was going to be bad.
I just...
Yesterday. I started all yesterday.
I don't even remember, like, my last week. So... I just want to go back. I just want to go back to streaming. And the faster I get back to some semblance of normalcy, the better. I'm just going to rot in bed
on YouTube
and
to make sure
be
she
miserable
apologizes correctly.
Yeah, she needs to. She needs to apologize. Thank you for the follow. Welcome. Fast response is a sign of good business. Shut the fuck up. Shut your bitch ass up. I swear to God. The memes for this.
I'm gonna wrap it up.
Thank you for the follow. Welcome.
Wrap it up. Spam the emote. Wrap it up.
Did I just see the crying?
I guess.
Did I just see Raiden
me
Shogun or crying emote in the chat? Did I just fucking saw that? What the hell? I just saw it for like a split second. I just saw the crying Raiden Shogun emote in her chat. I was like, wait a second, who the fuck is it? So far, I'm the only one who... Yeah, you saw it. Yeah, I fucking saw it for like a split second.
No, I'm just dissociating now.
Ay. No, hombre. Todo, casi.
Everything hurts, and all my friends are hurting.
Yeah.
And it really sucks.
Yeah.
And we've been hurting nonstop. And
Todo esto está volviendo mucho para ella. Shit, fuck, damn, dude. A la puta, man. I swear to God, man.
Please give everyone lots and lots of love. And
Ay, ay,
I
ay.
hope that we all
True.
find
You're
some
not wrong,
sense
Miku.
of normalcy again soon. Don't know when it'll come, but I hope it's soon. Be good to each other. Don't.
It kind of really depends if she'll sell her shares for gamer subs. But we'll see what happens.
Don't be someone that your younger self would hate to grow up to be.
That's true. That's very true. That's why I never forget about my younger self, ever.
I don't think I will address it anymore past this stream.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. Just let it all out, you know?
Thanks for listening and letting me be honest and raw with my thoughts and feelings.
Mm-hmm.
I hate holding shit in. It's the worst feeling ever. Okay. I'm going to awkwardly end the stream now. And I'm going to take an Advil.
Yep.
That is my alarm to take my Advil. Okay, goodbye, guys. That sounded like I'm never fucking coming back. See you later. And
Take care, Bao. Take care. You be safe.
I think we all should go take an Advil.
Yikes. Sorry.
And also book a couple of appointments to see a therapist. I personally have 2 sessions this week. So I guess I will see some of you guys there. See you later. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Take care. Much love. Much love. Bow. Much love. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay. This is definitely a catastrophe, to be honest. Everything for just good business, right? At the end of the day, right? Ay, ay, ay. Ay, muchacho, pobre. Pobrecito, hombre. No, hombre. Hey, man. She may like furries though, but I ain't gonna shit on her. I'll tell you that much, to be honest.